Joining me today is Carrie Edge from the Elevation House. Go get your coffee and we'll be right back.
If you're looking for a new pet that your family will cherish every day, consider adopting from a shelter. Shelters are the best places to find a new pet. That's where you'll discover healthy, loyal, and loving animals, eager to become a part of your family. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet, so bring home your new buddy today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back to GHC Coffee Break. I'm so excited about my guest today, Carrie Edge from the Elevation House. She is the executive director, and I am a board member, which I'm very, very proud to have been asked to be a part of this group. I think of all the groups that I've been involved in over the years, and I just can't tell you how much I've enjoyed being a part of this and seeing it grow. I was able, I think we had you and Don a couple months ago on the show, and y'all were just really getting to start talking about Elevation House. And I think you've been on maybe John's Community Watch talking a little bit about it. But hopefully today, because we've got some official good news, we can talk a little bit more in depth in what you're going to be doing. So Carrie, I'm going to kind of let you catch us up.
Sure. So for those that don't know, we're with Elevation House. It's probably the newest nonprofit in town, and we work with adults with serious mental illness, and our mission is to end the social and economic isolation that people living with mental illness experience for loss of jobs, loss of interaction socially because of the mental illness and the isolation. And we do that by providing quality programs in a clubhouse. So this is a building-centered program, and we're very excited to announce that we finally have that building to center everything around, and we will begin services to our members on June the 3rd.
Okay, you even got, you sneaky little thing. You even got me on that one. June the 3rd? Oh
June the 3rd. So yes, we're doing our open enrollment now. Obviously, clubhouses, Elevation House may not be for every person.
Right.
And we'll talk a little bit about those membership qualifications, but we are doing the open enrollment, and we hope to have 10 by the end of June, 1st of July, and then by the end of the year, 25 members. We want to grow nice and slow so that we can make sure that we spend the time that's needed to do the individual success plans with each person, because everybody's isolation is different, and everybody's dream and idea of what successful recovery looks like is completely different. So each person, we want to kind of tailor make a plan for them so that they can have the recovery that they've longed to have, for some people for years.
And I love that. I worked with developmental disabilities first and foremost through most of my career, and we call them an individual service plan. They call them IEPs, individual educational plans in school. But I think the key word to me that struck me is the individual, because just as you said, every individual has different, what is success to you may be something quite different to me. A successful day for me may be I got up and made it to work. I was able to communicate with somebody that, on a one-on-one basis. So those successes and the accomplishment is very, very individual. So that to me that really struck me about this program, about Clubhouse. I visited with you guys, Bonnie and Jim Moore, Don. You weren't there with us on that one.
I was not.
And there was a couple other people. I don't know if they would want me to share their names, so I won't. But I know Jim and Bonnie won't care, and Don. Yeah. But in Chattanooga, we went up there, and I was so amazed at what I saw. I mean, somebody could tell me, and yeah, we're talking and telling you guys, so just wait till we get started and you'll come visit. and volunteer.
Yes.
But gotta throw those things in. But it was so amazing to walk through. Most of us, if you've been in any workforce or ever been in a staff meeting, the major difference, and I've heard you talk about this, and it always tickles me to death because I'm like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. But those meetings where that you feel good, and it's not like a dictatorial, it's authoritarian, okay, you got to do kind of stuff. It's like, well, what can we? And when I say we, it truly is the we. It's the TEAM, team part. And I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that because that's really your baby.
Yeah, so really the beauty of clubhouses, and you mentioned that there's one in Chattanooga. It is the closest one. We will be the first in the state of Georgia to be an accredited clubhouse, recognized by Clubhouse International. Clubhouse International recognizes 320 clubhouses across the world. And again, not one in the state of Georgia. So
Wow.
The model that we use is 70 years old, and it's been proven to be effective for mental health recovery. And a lot of the beauty of it is that voluntary nature, participate voluntarily, whether it be to actually become a member and volunteer to be a member. I want to do this, I want to recover, to literally when they get in there to do the work of the clubhouse. So this is therapy that is not your typical, your norm.
Right.
We don't have group therapy where we're sitting around in chairs talking about the pathology. We're not talking about where we're sick. We're exercising where we're well.
I love that.
And so that's what happens when you mention these meetings. Those are work unit meetings, and our clubhouse will have 2 units to start with, one being the clerical unit and the other being the kitchen unit. And every morning we'll come together with a list of things that have to be accomplished by the end of the day. And everybody just volunteers themselves to complete the task. So there's no hierarchy. I'm better than you, and you're this and you're that, which, you know, we have come from the sheriff's office. It's something that's very different. It's very foreign to our understanding because we've become so acculturated to, you know, this person's in charge, this person does
Right.
this person does that. Our job description is literally to finish the tasks of the day. And for everybody to participate in what makes them feel good and empowers them. Because at the end of the day, if I've completed something that I enjoy doing, it gives me a good sense of accomplishment. You ever made a to-do list and at the end of the day you look at it and you're like, man, crush that.
Yeah.
Hit that out of the park. We always do what we enjoy
True.
first,
And you do
even
it
though
first, yes.
psychology tells us we should really reverse it
Yeah.
and do what we least like first. But that again is the essence of Clubhouse, is that I find purpose through meaningful work at the clubhouse. And so members literally facilitate all the work that it takes to run a nonprofit, plus build a community. And we build a community in relationships. And one of the best ways to build relationships is to break bread with each other.
Yes.
And so we'll
People love to eat.
Yeah, we do love to eat. But we have a
you-
wellness program, so no worries. We're going to make sure that we eat well. So we'll share meals together, breakfast and lunch. And in the process of doing all that, as the clubhouse is a hub of movement and excitement and laughter and work, people use and learn employable skills. So they gain confidence in the community by doing what they enjoy. And then they also learn skills that stretch them a little bit, then to allow them to enjoy some of the other programs that Clubhouse has that takes people back into the community and help them to actualize their dreams.
You said another key word right there that I actualize.
Yeah.
Because you know, in psychology, sociology, we talk about self-actualization. Psychology more than sociology, but self-actualization. And I've working with disabilities. First it was always a person first. Someone has a disability,
Yes.
and I think it's the same way with mental illness. They have a mental illness, just like I have diabetes. I'm not diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
I have diabetes, and I think that idea of full actualization. How do I know what that is if I don't try something? I remember a story someone told me, and it's been told and retold to me. I don't know where it came from. I just remember it was a story that was told to me, and it really had an impact. But she was telling about she's volunteered to be well, you get paid, but a substitute teacher, and she was not told that the class that she was subbing for that day happened to be the class with kids with learning disabilities. She was actually going to do it for the rest of the year because the lady had gone out on maternity leave. And so she was doing what she was teaching them, doing everything that all the other kids were doing. And she kept having these teachers come up and says, wow, I love what you're doing with those kids. I love what you're doing with those kids. This is where sociology comes in, the labeling theory. Those kids. And she finally just got, what do you mean those kids? Oh, well, you have the class of the learning disabled, and kind of with their nose up in the air. But they're doing all kinds of stuff. She was never told they couldn't do. So when she had an expectation of them to do, they did. And that's the way I see Clubhouse.
It's very much like that, that very person-first focus. One of the things Clubhouse always does is ensure that there's work for every level of development and ability. We want everybody to come and engage. So from someone who may have a high level of skill, who can write well or can do graphic arts and things of that nature, there's something there for that individual. To the individual who maybe has never had a work experience and maybe needs to start somewhere else. Maybe they want to work in the kitchen, just helping to cook, learning basic life skills. So teaching those basic life skills. So there's something for everyone in the gamut. And every day leaving out feeling confident that you can do something, that even if you fail, you have a community of people that are surrounding you that said, yes, you did fail. What does it feel like? But let's get it done. Let's help each other make that happen. And I've never worked in a workplace like that to the full, but to see that happening at Clubhouse, for someone to say, okay, yeah, we failed, but let's get this done. Let's meet this deadline by the end of the day. Let's all come together to work and rally to make this happen.
And that to me is amazing, because we know that when we do something that makes us feel good, we're more likely to do it again. Yeah. And when something doesn't make us feel good, it's hard to want to do that. So if we have that support, Emil Durkheim, one of our famous sociologists, that's one of the things he talked about, is one of our key important things in our life is social support. And that leads to another show we'll have on resiliency later on. But we need social support, positive social support.
Yeah, and a lot of times people living with mental illness, they lose that social support. And there's a number of reasons why, stigma being number one. Stigma also prevents people from getting the medical attention that they need, and you use diabetes. Having a mental illness, it's called illness for a reason, because it is an illness. It's an illness like diabetes, cancer, those sorts of things.
Right.
If you don't get treatment, you become more sick. Yes. And eventually the sickness will take over your life. And unfortunately, not only do you have people who, because of stigma, won't get the help, they also won't come out of that isolation to connect with other people in the community, to help build them up, to encourage them to access the care and other supports that they need to live a full life. And Clubhouse helps to do that. So Clubhouse doesn't have to fit all the need, but we can connect with other programs and resources in the community. And part of the way we do that is our members have experiential learning that I may not have experienced it, but because they are living with a mental illness, they know firsthand. I know about this medicine. I know about that program. Try this, or this may make you feel this way. So the community comes together with those supports to help each other in a way that they may not otherwise. Family may not understand.
Right.
Family a lot of times doesn't get it, and because of the stigma of mental illness, unfortunately, a lot of families use the bootstrap method. We'll just pull ourselves up by the bootstrap, just get out there, and it's not always that easy, Susan.
No, and even without mental illness and without any kind of other illnesses, pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps is not always that easy. and to be able to acknowledge that and be okay with failure, I think, again, is a very important piece of what Clubhouse is going to do. When we come back from our coffee break, let's talk a little bit more about how does it take to become a member, your funding, different things that, so people out in our audience will know how can we help Elevation House. So get your coffee and we'll be right back.
Your life is filled with opportunities to show the world you can take charge. It's waking up each day with a mission. It's working each day toward a goal. It's choosing to rise. It's charging forward with a purpose. It's changing the course of your life and taking charge of your future. If you're ready to be a Take Charger, enroll at Georgia Highlands College today.
Welcome back to GHC Coffee Break. Carrie and I are having a great conversation about Elevation House, and I'm really excited to be a part of that. But Carrie, tell us a little bit about, I know you mentioned membership. What is membership? How do you become a member? What does that entail? We'll start with that.
Okay, so membership, like I mentioned before, it is voluntary. Individuals between the ages of 18 and forever.
Forever.
They have access to membership. And we mentioned in me sharing the mission that it needs to be an individual with what we call a serious mental illness. So serious mental illness, just by definition, is chronic, persistent mental illness that impacts one of the major functions of life. These typically you see in clubhouses, people with schizophrenia, schizoaffective, bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder. So individuals with those types of diagnoses, but anyone who has a mental illness that has been chronic and persistent and typically leads to disability, they can access membership. Membership is completely free of charge. Applications can be received from us. They can go to our website at elevationhouse.org. Our email is on there. They can access us that way. Find us on Facebook, Messenger. Can call us at 706-413-2323 to get the application. So the application process is fairly simple. We try not to make it too complex. There are about 10 pages, I believe. 1 page is for the physician, because the other requirement with membership is that the individual has to be invested in their recovery. Because we all know, no matter what type of recovery it is, whether you're recovering from a heart attack or mental illness or an addiction disorder, you must follow the directions and you must be under the care of a physician, taking the medication and doing the things that have been prescribed to you to do. So we're looking for people who want that recovery. So that's a big component, because actively seeking recovery. And that goes back to the whole idea that it's voluntary, and membership is for a lifetime. I've had many people ask me, because it doesn't make sense to them, like therapy has a beginning and it has an end. Well, this is more about community and always having, quote unquote, that safe place to land. So the clubhouse is always a safety net, and you may have times in your life where you're accessing it daily. Week to week, month to month. You may go out in one of our transitional employment positions, and then supportive employment, and then eventually individual employment. And you may not come back to the clubhouse as much, but then you may have a period of time in your life where you feel like you need to come back to the clubhouse and come every day. So it's always there and available for the member anytime that it's needed.
And you mentioned the 5 major affect any 5 major parts of their life. I think I can remember some of them, so help me out. But one of them is actually interferes with your daily living and getting out and being able to just take care of yourself.
Self-care.
Self-care. What's another one?
Being able, employment, being able to maintain safe, dignified type housing, all those sorts of things that we see that are basic to just,
living.
The felt needs of life.
Okay.
So anytime those are interrupted, and again, like I said, it's chronic, persistent It's been, you know,
Diagnosed
years
and worked
diagnosed.
with- okay.
Yeah. So they have to have a diagnosis, and the diagnosis must be, the primary diagnosis must be a serious mental illness.
Okay.
Many times when you talk about mental illness, a lot of times people think about developmental disabilities,
Right.
intellectual disabilities. It's not necessarily that person.
Right.
It's someone with a serious mental illness, a mental disorder where their brain is actually ill. So those are the people that we're looking for to be members.
I think that's good to clarify, because I think a lot of times people, when they think of mental illness, do also kind of lump that into a you know, well, they can't do other things. There's a lot of very intelligent people who have mental illnesses.
There's extremely intelligent people that we come in contact with
Right.
every day that we don't know they have a mental illness.
Right.
But perhaps they need those supports, or they want to finish their education, and so they want to access our education supports so that they can get back into school. Our first member, she wants to finish her master's. Her life was interrupted while she was getting her master's in mathematics, so that's who I've been going to with, you know, my mathematics issues. But she wants to access the educational supports to finish.
That's awesome.
So this, you know, I just want to make sure that people are clear and understand what type of member we're looking for.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And the clubhouse is open Monday through Friday daily from 8 to 4.
Where is the clubhouse?
And the clubhouse is at 41 Washington Drive here in Rome, Georgia, formerly known as Main High School. So it's currently now the Kelsey Acock Burrell Center. And we are so, I feel like I need to say indebted, and gratefulness just doesn't even cover it for the Kelsey Acock Burrell Community Board for inviting us in to be partners into that beautiful schoolhouse. It's going to, every time I walk into it, Susan, it's just a beautiful facility. It's been well kept. And
Great
we're
history.
Great.
Amazing history.
And we're so excited. Like we literally now, Susan, we're a part of that history. That history of resiliency, of educating, of helping people to dream, to be more
Yes.
than what they may even perceive that they can be. And so we are now a part of KAB's history, part of that Main High history.
Isn't that awesome?
And it's just so awesome. It's just a legacy that they have given us, and we don't take that lightly. I mean, it is truly an honor and a privilege to be invited into that beautiful space. And we will always remember that as our start and our incubation. We know that we'll eventually outgrow that space. We, again, will have 10 members hopefully by the end of June, 1st of July, to 25 by the end of December. We need about 2,500 square feet according to Clubhouse International accreditation rules. So we know we're going to outgrow that because the average clubhouse is about 300, has about 300 members that are active. So we will grow to that potential eventually, but we, again, want to be nice, slow, and steady to provide the proper supports to our members.
Oh, absolutely.
Who get to access all of that for free, again. And we are completely privately funded. There are no monies available through the state of Georgia for clubhouse programs. That's not the case in some other states, but that happens to be the case here. So we will be privately funded, 501c3, and the average cost per member right now, especially in our startup phase, because things will cost a little bit more in the beginning because we have more equipment and things of that nature that we need to purchase, is $5,000 for a member for a full year. When you compare that to the cost of hospitalization in the state of Georgia, the average cost for hospitalization is $2,500 per day.
Wow.
So you can send
2
someone
days.
to a hospital for 2 days, or for 365 days they can access recovery that is proven to be effective at Elevation House.
That's amazing.
It is.
And I think that that's another important piece, is to look at, and by the way, we're the first after the press conference to know about this.
Yes.
So my listeners, thank you for being a part of this great reveal. I really do appreciate that. But, you know, the funding, volunteers, the people that are going to be coming and working with you guys, of course, you'll have the members that they're really going to be running it along with, side by side with staff members. But what do you need from our community?
So there are three things that I always tell people that
Your elevator
we
speech,
need.
right?
Yeah. Well, it's, your time, your talent, your treasure.
Oh, I like that.
I believe that we all have something of value to contribute, and we want to offer an opportunity to do that in a way that's meaningful. My idea of a volunteer coming in and not having anything to do, we've all had those volunteer experiences where, someone meant well and we wanted to volunteer someplace, but when we got there just wasn't really much of anything to do.
Right.
We don't ever want that to be the case at Elevation House. And though club members run the house, there are other opportunities after that 8 to 4 time that people can do lots of things, or sometimes even during that 8 to 4. We will have a garden to grow some of our own food. That's part of our wellness initiative. I can grow things, but I don't necessarily know anything about agriculture, so we're looking for volunteers to help, especially in that area. We're looking for individuals that want to contribute their talents, maybe to fundraising initiatives, to either be a part of something we're doing, or maybe they want to venture out and do some peer-to-peer fundraising and do something of their own, a bike ride, knitting a quilt and raffling it, anything of that nature, whatever's meaningful to them. To someone who might want to come in and maybe they teach financial preparedness classes. And they want to come in and teach our members how to manage their finances. Just some of those basic things. They can be done, at the clubhouse after hours. To individuals who just they like to party, the social butterflies that want to come and be a part of our socials. The clubhouse will offer social activities every month, and we will celebrate holidays on holidays. And so we need people that want to come and be a part of those holiday celebrations for individuals
cool.
who may not have family members to really engage with during the holidays.
Wow, that sounds good. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I think you and I have talked off camera about some interns. I'm going to be trying to get some
Yes.
interns, or at least a intern, hopefully, for this fall. I've got a couple of people I'm going to talk to them and see if they would be interested. So, I think there's a lot of opportunities here. And I think it also will help break down some of that, as you said, the stigma, mental health, suicide. Those are things people don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
We're afraid that if we talk about, it's almost like we're afraid if we talk about mental health or mental illness that we will catch it.
Yeah, that we'll get sick.
Yeah, that we're going to get sick. Who is normal? What is normal anyway, really? So I think that the Elevation House is really going to bring us a lot of great opportunities and to help reduce some of that stigma and fear, because I think that unfortunately the media does fearmonger, because that's what we see is the mental illnesses that are, someone's not getting help. They're not getting that support like the clubhouse is going to offer, and we see the horrible things that happen.
Yeah.
We want to get rid of the horrible things and bring in some positive.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, Susan, when we talk to people about Elevation House, they have a tendency to think about it in those terms.
Right.
The terrible things gone wrong. And these are people like you and I who are looking for a place that provides hope and opportunity so that they can get their life back.
Yeah, and I like that, getting their life back, because they've got a life. We just got to give them that support, just the little support that they need. All right, unfortunately my time is up, so until next time, we'll be right back with GHC Coffee Break.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to GHC Coffee Break. Carrie, I cannot tell you how excited I am to be a part of this. My talent doesn't necessarily lie sometimes in some areas I wish it did, but I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of it. Thank you for being on the show and inviting our community that watches the show to be a part of it. I think it's great. Guys, contact Carrie Edge at Elevation House real quick.
At elevationhouse.org, 706-413-2323.
All right, until next time, GHC Coffee Break. Come back now.